So that was 71.
71, 72.
72 was the 721, wasn't it?
The 72.
Would that be right?
1X, was it?
That was first, wasn't it? There was a G spec as well, wasn't it?
Oh, that was like in the 711 also. We started off with inboard front brakes.
Right.
And all the testing in South Africa and everything, they were okay. And then we came back to England here, and Ronnie drove the car for Frank Williams at Brands Hatch.
Right.
And he broke a front drive shaft. So I always remember Robin coming to me and saying, he said, what do you think? Well, actually, sort of in light of Jochen's accident, I said, I don't think we can risk it unless you know why it broke, because it was in the dam, and it was just an odd situation. Right. So there was not the knowledge around to understand the damn things,
No, quite.
Why it would break. And the car that Frank had, I think it was a new car as well. So there was no reason. There was no obvious reason, and it always, it upset me with Jochen's accident that it had happened previous race meeting to John Miles, was it?
That's right.
In Austria.
Yeah.
Now, for me, that would have, sounded warning bells, but
yeah.
Without that, without proper knowledge of the damn things, we couldn't risk it. So we took them off, and it just went to out. Luckily, it was easily available, to get the best, things like that. And I think it was the right decision. The only thing I actually do wish is that I sort of wish I'd sort of kept a set of parts that we just chucked in the bin, because somebody could have had an original 711 out there instead of almost original.
Absolutely.
So that went on from there. But then the year after, of course, we start off with Nicky Lauda.
I was going to say, so then we're into the Nicky Lauda year on.
And that was interesting, because obviously Nicky he was a young guy that had, just got hold of a lot of money to go racing.
However, he got
and even he knew it was dodgy. He said, if I don't pay the money back, I'm in jail.
Right.
So it was interesting. It was another interesting season. Not very.
How did you feel about Ronnie leaving, going to Lotus? Well, that was 73, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Getting a bit ahead of ourselves. So it was Ronnie and Nicky Lauda, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't actually blame Ronnie for doing that. I think it was a good move for him. I think March hadn't really looked after him, like they ought to, because there were politics, and I think that March could have looked after him, or done something. But by continuing on with the cars that they had, they did it wrong. Like when they did that 721X with the Alpha gearbox.
Yeah.
Back to front axle. These days it's all the rage, but in those days it was way out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once again, working with Alfa Romeo was not easy. This was Auto Delta that they worked with, and so that wasn't easy, and which was a total disaster again. I think one of our last races with that was probably at, I forget where the circuit was now, near Waterloo in Belgium. Nivelles, was it?
That's right, one had to use once or twice.
Yeah. And the car was a disaster there. I think it was Nivelles. It certainly wasn't a car that would excite you anyway, and so then we go from that to the 721G, which was a Formula 2 car with extra side tanks on it, which had some potential if it had been properly done, maybe, but it was all done in a hurry again. Yeah. And I remember Ronnie was running extremely well at Clermont-Ferrand until the rear anti-roll bar came and became disconnected. Whether it was my fault or not in braking and half, which had happened actually with some early K-nuts, but you never know. It was more than likely me. And
surely not.
But up till that happening, he was going extremely well. Maybe that was the circuit that actually suited it, though.
Yeah.
And so from then on, we never did, sort of very much with the car. We ran it as a race car, but that was already really Sabo. Yeah. So I have no great happy memories of that
no, I don't blame
season.
You. Yeah.
And at the end, he lost Ronnie anyway. And also there was a lack of development and sort of energy, sort of going into the Formula One by then. I think.
Why do you think that was?
Maybe it had all run out with the 721X car or whatever it was, because a lot of effort had gone into that and it just never worked. In the season we'd also gone back to a normal gearbox on that, gone back up to Hewland, so it was a messy year, extremely messy year.
Nicky Lauda didn't like it at all, did he?
No, and so maybe by the end of the season, everybody actually knew it was a messy year. So
yeah, so there wasn't much impetus sort of going on. It was a bit of a downer sort of.
Yeah. We'd had some good people there, like Harvey Postlethwaite and these guys, which was excellent, and they were good to work with, but they were limited on and maybe there was a limit on money. I don't know. I never always paid my wages.
Fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Give you money at the end of the month or at the end of the week.
Yeah.
So what was the 73 car?
It was a 721G once again.
With that funny nose.
Yeah, with funny nose. Must have been with Jean-Pierre Jarier.
Right, okay.
But I think only one car.
Right. Because at the same time the company was doing Formula 2, Formula 3, what else? There was lots of stuff going on, wasn't it?
Formula Ford, I think, and
was it?
Sports cars also must do with the BMW engine.
That's right.
So
there was a lot going on.
So so all this was happening. So
how many people had been in the whole company at that point? Quite a few.
Must have been. I suppose it'd be 50 or 60 people, but it wouldn't be certain on that.
No. Fair enough.
Because a lot of the workers would be seasonal anyway for assembling cars only. And,
right.
And the good ones of those would be dragged off into various race teams anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But actually, with Jarier, it was a lot more compact. We were almost, sort of back to the Formula 2 days in a way. And then there were only a couple of mechanics and a sort of manager with us, who was Peter Briggs, I think, at the time.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. There were two mechanics and Peter Briggs, and so we did a lot of races like that. I liked. It was good to work with Jarier. He was quick.
Yeah.
But the car wasn't really up to him, I don't think, in a lot of it. And then there was another car built up for David Purley.
Oh yes.
He also raced, but then while all this was happening, we ended up with Roger Williamson in our car for Zandvoort. And unfortunately Roger was killed. Roger must have been in the car for Silverstone as well, because I don't know how all this
how the deals came about.
But I remember Roger actually walking back to me after the big shunt on the start line at Silverstone.
Yes.
And Roger came back and said, "I think I've broken my bloody toe," he said. And he was like, he was a nice guy to work with. And with hindsight, I often look back and think, I wish he'd broken his bloody leg.
Yeah.
Because he then wouldn't have been at Zandvoort. So, this is what happens, and that if only, and you,
of course,
you look back on these things. And Roger was a nice bloke. He'd sort of been around March for a while anyway. He was a nice guy to work with, and unfortunate for him, the tyre at Zandvoort let go. There were all sorts of arguments about it, but I had photographs of the tyre with the hole and things like that.
Right.
And these days, they might have stopped a race, but in those days they carried on. And I spoke to one of the drivers and I said, "Well, why didn't you stop?" And he said, "Well," he said, you come round and you think the next time round it'll be something happening." He said, "You come past and nothing's happened again." He said, "And you realise that it's too late."
Yeah.
It's the only one that actually made any effort. There was Holm, I think. He sort of drove along, right along in front of the pits, and he was waving and doing a few things, I think so, yeah.
And of course David Purley got out of the car himself.
And tried to help. Yeah, so I think the next race after that, March actually ran the car for David at Monza.
Right.
Or what? In and around that actual time. So we looked after the car for David anyway. He offered me a job there for the following year in Formula 5000.
Oh yeah.
And he said, "How much money do you want?" And when I told him, he said, "I don't get that much." But then he was running around a Ferrari Dino, and he never had to pay for anything.
No, of course not. It was his father, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was, yeah. So I thought, this is a bit one-sided here, David. But he was a nice guy as well. So it sort of, we ran the year out, and then at the end of that year I left.
Did it? At the end of 73?
73 I must have
left,
yeah, because I was offered a job at the Shadow anyway, so they offered me the job there for 72, and I was happy with March, oddly enough, and I just didn't want to go, but they said, "We want a chief mechanic, at Shadow, and will you come?" And so I said, yeah, at the end of
73.
End of 73, yeah.
Right.
So it was a decision you make in life that I think every decision that you make is the right decision. Even at hindsight, you might say, "Oh, that was a stupid thing I did that wrong." But I think we're all...
Well, there's no way of knowing.
It's all mapped, and if you didn't make a sort of doubtful decision, sometimes you never know what the right ones are anyway.
Yeah, there is that, of course.
And so I've been offered, sort of jobs and things with people, and you think, "Oh, I should have taken that as a mistake." There's the odd situation. I always remember once when I worked at the Shadow, I'd had enough after Dijon, and I'd had some words with the manager, and my wife Marcy was there, and she said, "Well, you don't have to put up with that." I said, "No, I don't." And I went looking for him to tell him what he could do with his job, and I couldn't find him.
And if you'd have found it...
If I'd have found it, yeah, then things would have been different,
Of course.
sort of totally different again.
Yeah.
and I'd been offered a job actually at Dijon, which would have had me in America probably by now, or not. I might have hated it there or whatever. So there was always that situation. And the good thing was you were being offered sort of other jobs. Obviously, you'd fooled the people again. They probably thought you were better than you were. Exactly. Yeah. Whereas a lot of it is just being with the right driver, and just circumstances. That
of course. Right place at the right time.
I sort of thought this from an early age, but especially when I came to England, I thought there's some good mechanics out in the teams here, and also with the independents.
Yeah.
That they're probably very good mechanics, but they're not going to get anywhere because they've got nothing in the way of a driver.
Right. Yeah.
And that happens.
To show off their work.
No matter how good they are, if the driver's mediocre, everybody thinks they're mediocre. And that's wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas the other way, if the driver's good, they think you're good, and that's wrong as well. A lot of the time. Yeah, but it continues on. Yeah.
Of course. That's right.
I think a lot of it is, that happens. And I know I've always believed that. I've sort of never thought I was any good. I thought there are a lot of people out there that are good, who will never get recognition. But I think you get that in all walks of life. You'll get people, you come upon some people that are totally useless, and you think, well, or you think they're totally useless. Well, how did he get the job? But
exactly, and they seem to get on as well.
Yeah. They move on and up, and you think, no. Actually, motor racing is quite good at finding them. It's this, and people I've worked with over the years, I've had a good laugh. We all have about. Hey, look what he's doing now. And,
you can't believe it.
You can't believe it.
Exactly.
Yeah. This happens.
Yeah. But, so who were your drivers for 73 then? And what was it like leaving Mars? You didn't sort of mind too much, or?
No, I was.
Had you had enough sort of?
Yeah, I was happy to get away, and so the drivers for 74 must have been
74, yeah.
Peter Revson.
Oh right, yes.
And who was the other driver?
Was that a bit later on?
Jarier.
It was it?
Yeah, because I remember Alan Rees came to me at one of the meetings and said, what is Jerry like? I said, he's good. And I don't know why this happened, but they took him on.
Yeah.
First year was that was their second year, because the first year they had George Fulmer.
Yes.
And did they have Oliver?
Or was that later on?
No, we only had Oliver for one race. That was after.
Did it?
After Revson was killed.
He was doing Can-Am stuff as well, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah.
He was out of Formula 1 by then.
Yeah, so isn't it funny how it isn't that long ago, but obviously not burned into my memory. You'll have to look this up and edit it in.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when Revson was killed, in its own way, that like a lot of these sort of things ought to have been avoidable. In that when we were building the car up, one of the mechanics came up to me and said, he had part of the car, and he said, "What do you think of this?" I said, "No, not very good," is it? He said, "No, I don't think so either." So we took it up to Tony Southgate, had a talk with him. He said, "Yes." No, he said, "I'll redesign it." We had the parts redesigned and manufactured, but not on the car yet, by South Africa. But after Brands Hatch, we'd actually gone to South Africa for testing with a spare set of uprights that had all been, crack tested and everything, and we put those on the car for the test. So we we had an inkling that it wasn't actually good enough.
Right.
And yet, after a short period of time there, that's what happened. We had a failure in the front suspension.
Right.
With hindsight, it wouldn't have happened, but then lots of things wouldn't happen with hindsight.
Right, that's right.
So that was, and so Revy was, nice guy, easy to work with, and he appreciated what you did. This was also good with you.
Yeah.
Always, thought he was nice. We were, so in a couple of years there, I lost a couple of drivers, which was a little bit of a way. It affects me in a way, but I always remember talking to Roger Hill after Severe was killed in America, and so Roger said, well, he said, it's their risk. They put themselves in the car.
Yeah.
He
know
said,
all about it.
He said, and he said, they've got a lifestyle that we can only dream about. He said, so that's the risk, and of course he was dead. Right, that's another typical New Zealand attitude, I guess. He just, well, that's it, and you can do nothing about it once it's happened.
No,
it's
right.
over. You can think about it, you can analyse it, and you think what I ought to have done, or but you can't.
No, it's not going to bring it back.
No, and then of course just the year after that was Tom Price was killed.
Right. That's right.
It was a year or a couple of years later.
Yeah.
And Tom was killed. Now that was an accident that was just so bizarre. It was.
Of course.
It was unbelievable.
That's right.
We went through some hard sort of times there, but you carry on. It's just that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in those days, it was almost part of the course, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it was a pity the nicer guys were well, I wouldn't want anybody to fall by the wayside, but the ones that did were nice people anyway.
What was Tom Price like?
He's a great guy.
Was he?
Yeah, just a great guy, Tom. When we first went with him to Goodwood for some tests, and he said, and his father came with him, and he said, I've never had the mickey taken out of me so much in my life, which is what we did. That's what we were good at. Yeah, we were good at that. The whole team was really good at that, at Shadow, because it was a good bunch of people there,
right?
And it was just like, young Tom turns up, and then we knew what he was like. We knew what he was capable of.
Yeah.
So it was just it was a fun exercise to have him on and that sort of thing, and he enjoyed it. But he also had an extremely good sense of humour, and everything was a laugh to him as well.
Excellent.
So it just
he joined in.
Perfect for us.
Excellent. Yeah.
And he was just great all the time. But that was actually more of a tragedy in some ways than the other, because he sort of hadn't actually made it. Whether he would have made it completely, you never know. But there were some dealings also too that he wasn't happy with. They wanted to swap him with Ronnie from Lotus.
Oh right.
There was
when was this? Back in '75.
Must have been in. Yeah,
75 was a bad year for Lotus, wasn't it?
Yeah. They and so there was something going on. We didn't know all about it, but there was something happening.
Right.
And, they could easily deny it, of course, these days. But Tom knew about it, and he wasn't happy with it.
No,
he wasn't, because he was seeming to be quite happy with us.
No, I thought looking back on it, the Shadow was probably a better car than the Lotus they were running at that point.
Oh yes, it was.
Which is the 72, and how old was that?
Yeah. Because we could have had some good races with the Shadow, especially with Jerry A. But I think our first race in Buenos Aires had each other off. One guy went across the corner and T-boned the other. But the year after, in in the first day of practice there, Jerry was on pole by over a second.
Right.
And so he never went out second day's practice, and nobody got near him.
Wow.
And then on the way out for the warm-up lap, he did the crane wheel and pinion in the pit lane.
Oh.
And we'd actually fitted a new one the night before.
And it just...
And then when we, get all the bits back to Hill, and they say, it's been made from the wrong spec material.
Oh.
And
talk about sods.
And you think, how does that happen? How does that, just obviously actually billet of wrong material get out there?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Just one.
God, yeah, I can't believe it.
Yeah, so that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the next race must have been after Sao Paulo, and he's about 30 seconds in the lead there, and the metering unit seized up, which had never ever happened before. Always remember the race where Fagiri comes up to me when the race is on, because we sort of all knew these guys, and Tamara comes up and he said, for Jarier, he said, you need a stopwatch. He said, for the others, you need a calendar.
Excellent.
Jarier was just walking it. And then the year after there was, Sao Paulo again with, actually Nicky was in the lead. Jarier was catching him up about a second a lap.
Right.
He sort of could have hauled him in by the end of the race. And James Hunt went into the barriers actually backwards, and they had oil coolers on back in those days.
Right.
Ripped all the oil coolers, then drove back on the circuit and put all the oil down.
Right.
And before the flags were out, of course, Jarier arrives there and goes off, and the journalist rubbished him for that. I said, oh yeah, well. And I forget who I was talking to. It was either Dootson or the Andy Merritt, and they said, oh yeah, an eyewitness. He said that he said had the flags out. So I said, who is that? He said, here's the guy. There's Gus, some other journalist. And he said, you saw Jarier go off, didn't you, on that oil? He said, well, no. I said, well, they said, you're an eyewitness. He said, yeah, but he's about a quarter of a mile away. So that was their eyewitness.
That's right, see? And that's what gets written down. That's what people read even now.
Yeah.
So that race was down to him because blah, blah, blah. But whereas in fact, there was nothing there to warn him at all.
No.
And he just suddenly went straight off.
And it was
through no fault of his own at all.
Stupid, it wasn't.
Yeah,
but he was
written down in the papers now and in the books. He made a bad mistake and went off and could have won. It's funny, isn't it?
I remember saying also, I said, he was about the only guy that was racing out there. Also, he was, he was right on it.
Yeah.
And I reckon that was about the last time I actually led it. Raced at Dijon, which must have been the Swiss Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
Then he broke the input shaft into the gearbox, which was something else we hadn't had happen, before. So there's all these things happening that you catch up with them in the end, but in the meantime they are losing your races,
of course,
or whatever. And he was well in the lead there.
Yeah.
But he was a good racer. But I see something recently where there's a new movie out, and he did all the stunt driving.
Really?
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to have a look at. Right. He's sort of driven me across Paris in a little Simca that I had once, and I thought, I wonder why they have these traffic lights and things here when he totally ignores them all.
Don't worry about those.
Yeah, Marsh and I were sitting in there, I thought, I wonder if he drives like this all the time, and apparently he does. All those guys did.
Yeah, that's right. So your first year at Arrows was 78?
At the beginning, yeah. I think we left there the end of 77 and then went to Arrows. Mm-hmm. And I was.
And by this time, what was your position?
Chief mechanic. And went to Arrows as the chief mechanic, but I was only the chief mechanic for 2 races. Right. And then I went into research and development,
Right.
back at the factory then,
Mm.
full time. So I did Rio and South Africa.
Right.
And of course Ricardo led South Africa for quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I think it was on the cards that the engine was going to go there, and in fact he was hitting the rev limit on the down changes every time.
Was he?
Yeah, so, but it was a good race from nothing, because of their second race.
Yeah, cool.
And actually Rio, we ought to done a lot sort of better there as well, but we had sort of problems with the fuel pickup. So every night from the Tuesday night, I think we arrived, we went and tested on an airfield. Every night after that, I had the engine off the back of the chassis.
Yeah.
That was hard work.
Yeah.
And in the race, we had to bring him in and stick some fuel in. I think he still finished 9th or something there, didn't he? That was a disaster. Yeah, so after that from ours, I was just back in the factory with all the crash testing and the models.
Did you miss going to the races after that?
Yes, I did in a way, but I think you have to stop at some time. I think I'd have continued on racing. I sort of, that was, at the time it was the only thing that interested me.
Yeah.
But then you get into the wind tunnel work, which for me was boring. I used to never like that, but I think all of us have some vandal in us, so I like the crash testing. I really enjoyed that. That is, you can see results from a crash test, yeah. Mm. And as we started off, we used to do it all at Cranfield, and it's nice and handy, and they were organised and we were organised. Mm. So it's a went from there.
And not many late nights? Or
no, there were probably more late nights with the wind tunnel work, which we used to do at the Imperial College in London. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you'd be down there for a week, backwards and forwards. That was a pain, but with the crash testing, I really enjoyed that. Mm. And we sort of got involved actually very early on with on-board information retrieval and all those sort of things, but with a company called Sycon, because up till then they'd had some machines, but they were tapes, which is a bit useless in a race car because the G-force
they vibrate
off the head and things like that. Yeah, but with the Sycon outfit, it also makes you wonder about our company, whether we were in it for the information or for the money or whatever.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't say these things, but
always
in your mind you
think, why are we doing this?
Yeah, yes, you sort of wonder what the reasons are. It's a bit like things that happen at the factory once they had some experts in to find out what was wrong with the company, or personnel management and all that sort of thing. And the end result comes out, and you think, well, why did they do this? They could have asked us; we could have told them. There were some funny things, but I couldn't tell you on here, but I'll have to tell you later about some of the funny things that happened with that. And they called us in actually groups, and we'd have to talk to the guy and his secretary. Well, interesting people, said to me, I said, "Oh, your group was good. You talked about a lot. You told them things that they hadn't heard. Our group was useless." And think, well, why do these people go along to these things if they're not going to say anything?
Yeah, of course, there's no point in going otherwise. That's right. Yeah.
It was at the time we had had a manager in there. I don't know what his title was, but he'd come from some other industry, and he was supposed to be he had all the...
He was going to sort you out.
All the bar charts and all this sort of thing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It was really on the ball, but we still managed quite well without anything like
That's right.
that, and all of a sudden there's this big disruption. And of course, that, they don't actually stay for long, a lot of these.
That's right. Yeah.
These people, but this happens, and
yeah.
this is all the way it is.